What's up YouTube, it's a Zero Eruption here, back with another deck profile, and as you've probably already been able to tell, it is my Reaper of Prophecy build. You guys have messaged me on YouTube, you've messaged me on DN, and you've also messaged me on DevPro asking me to make this, so here it is. Um, it's a bit confusing as to how so many people can message me when I only have about 100 subscribers and my most liked video is Reaper. So a lot of you guys that message me haven't actually subscribed or even liked my videos, which is really confusing because I don't see how you can ask me to take the time to do a deck profile when you haven't even taken the time to just click two buttons, which is a like and a subscribe button, and it really doesn't take much time, or it's like 5 seconds. On the flip side of that, you guys that have subscribed and liked my videos, you've also requested that I do this, and this video is entirely done for you because I don't really have to upload this at all. It's because you guys take the time to like my videos, you take the time to comment, you take the time to subscribe, and I really appreciate it and thank you very much. And I'm making this video entirely for you. So in between this introduction and my explanation of my choices, I'm actually going to put a dual video because my previous video was a test video, as you probably noticed. But the difference between the test video and the dual video for me is that my test videos have all sorts of different cards which you can potentially run, while the dual video is only of just one deck. There's no changes throughout the entire dual video. So that's where I'm actually going to mention that I have 39 cards down for the main deck because the 40th card I'm quite indecisive about it. Sometimes it's a spellbook of the Master, sometimes it's a spellbook of Wisdom, sometimes a spellbook of Power, sometimes a Card Trooper, sometimes even a Raikou or Solar Recharge. I'm really indecisive about the 40th card, but most of the time it is either Master or Wisdom, with sometimes being a Trooper. But yeah, I should just mention that before we go to the dual video. And if you just want to net deck this deck and just like not even listen to the explanations or the dual video, just pause the video, just net deck it now, and go off, and that's fine. But if you actually want to see the explanation and the dual video, then it will take 4 minutes, and I'll see you after that. So enjoy. Welcome back guys, and thanks for watching my Duel video if you did, and as promised I'm going to make this part an explanation for my choices. So to get into things, I run through Reaper Prophecy. Reaper is just really good, there's no reason not to run free because it counts itself as a target. I like to kind of think of it as the tour guide engine when tour guide was a free. People used to run free tour guide and one target which was Sangan, and I like to run free Reaper and one target which is Destroyer. And Reaper's been nerfed, which is really annoying, but it does happen. And to compensate for that, I run Crescent to help out with getting those names into the graveyard. And also, Reaper isn't too bad to draw first turn. It's just opening up with multiple Reapers and like a Reaper and a Destroyer, which is really annoying. And after that, I run Prophecy Destroyer. Destroyer, in my opinion, is the best target for Reaper outside of itself. Destroyer opens up all sorts of OTKs with Maggie Magician Girl, and with M7 it can lead to first turn strike bounces which can really shut down certain decks. It rewards you late game for putting all of these spellbooks in your graveyard, and because let's face it, once you go through your Reapers and if you're not running Destroyer, if your opponent has managed to survive, what are you really going to do? Because you've got no more targets for Reaper, you've got no more explosive plays really. All you can really do is keep adding spellbooks to your hand with Reaper. So in my opinion, Destroy is really there for the late game. It can really put in that extra bit of work. It gets over annoying cards like Lagia that can't really negate it because it's an ignition effect, and it's just a much better choice than like Delgin and Diamond, which I see in some decks. So after that, I run Free Lila. I run Free Lila because I want to always have targets for Charge of the Light Brigade, and Free Lila pretty much never like clogs up my field, so it clogs up my hand. And Lila puts in a lot of work. It clears back rows like Solemn Warnings, like Bubbler's Trap Holes that can be really annoying against Reaper and Destroyer, and it also builds spellbooks, which is excellent. After that, I run 2 Magical Exemplar. Exemplar is really good for reviving Lila. It basically turns it into a revivable MST, which is crazy, and also free mills during the end phase. And it could also get Destroyer and Reapers out of your hands. It can summon like milled Reapers and stuff like that, so it's really good. After that, I run 1 Effect Failure. I cut this down to 1, and I added a Breakthrough skill in order to make my mills more consistent with Reasoning and Monster Gate. And for 1 is doing fine for me, so I really like it at 1. I run 2 Full Prophecy. Full at 2 is definitely like what I find the best numbers to run it at. And with Full, I'm almost definitely going to put Crescent or Heliosphere into my graveyard as soon as possible. And with Full, I'm only running 3 Reaper that brings out itself and a Destroyer, so I think 2 is the right number to run. And I don't run a Hermit because this deck doesn't really rely on Full too much, so I feel like there's no real need to sort of give a whole space in my deck for a Hermit. And for the final monster, I have Spellbook Magician. Spellbook Magician's here for that first turn play with Secrets and Monster Gate. If I open with it, you just go Secrets into Magician, you +1 and add the Spellbook. If you've got other cards, then if you've got other Spellbook cards in your hand, then you use Master and you start filling up your graveyard. But ultimately, you use Monster Gate with Spellbook Magician, and because Spellbook Magician is inherently a +1, Monster Gate is inherently a -1. You'll go +0, so basically you're milling for free and you're replacing Spellbook Magician with potentially a Reaper, a Destroyer, a Lila, an Exemplar, hopefully not an Effect Failure, but maybe even a 4. So it can really lead to like really good first turn Reaper plays and just really quick mills, and it can really get your deck going first turn. So that's why I run for Spellbook Magician. And onto the spells, I run for Charge of the Light Brigade, really good for mills and searches out my Lilas, and doesn't interrupt Reasoning and Monster Gate as well. I run 2 Reasoning, 1 Monster Gate. This is basically the minion power of the deck. It really can get the deck going. The good thing is that the deck doesn't rely on this. In my duel videos you probably saw that most of the time I don't even use Reasoning or Monster Gate, and the reasoning for that is, well, for Reasoning, but basically I just like don't draw Reasoning or Monster Gate a lot for some reason, and for some reason I draw Reaper first turn a lot. Like in each of those duel videos you saw me draw Reaper first turn every single time. That happens to me a lot, especially on Death Pro, but that's just the way it is sometimes. But yeah, Reasoning and Monster Gate really for that minion power to get those bubbles in the graveyard. It's really sweet when you hit a Reaper, but this deck doesn't really rely on that. It's just getting those bubbles to the graveyard as quickly as possible. And onto the spellbooks, I run a spellbook of Eternity just for one because I don't want to open up with it. And I've already explained how I pretty much open up all the time with a Reaper, and if I start opening up with Eternity, I start to get really bad hands. So I think just for one Eternity is fine. Of course, never ever ever banish spellbook of Eternity unless you're pushing the game with Destroyer, or like if your opponent summons a really problematic monster and you just need to banish it and get rid of it with spellbook of Fate. 2 Spellbook of Life, I run 2 because if you mill 1 you need another copy in your deck to search out. 3 obviously is way too cruggy, there's just no point in running 3, you're just going to open really bad. So after that, 2 Spellbook of Power, you can bump this to 3 if you want. Spellbook of Power is really good for getting the engine going, and milling all of your powers is really unfortunate, but it does happen, so consider running that at 3. 3 Secrets, self-explanatory, I'm not going to explain it. 2 of the Grand Spellbook Tower. I've seen a lot of Reaper decks not playing this, big mistake. The Grand Spellbook Tower is one, a spellbook card obviously, so it counts itself for Reaper. Also, there are 2 main reasons why you should run this. The first is that when you have extra copies of Secrets, Power, Master, or if you mill all of your powers, all of your masters, and stuff like that, you can use the Grand Spellbook Tower to recycle them, and it won't interrupt your Reaper plays because Reaper wants different spell cards in your graveyard. And also, when the tower goes boom and your opponent blows it up, and you have 5 spellbooks in your graveyard, which is the whole point of the deck, you can bring out a Reaper, or in fact you can bring out any spellcaster you want. So those are 2 really good reasons to run the Grand Spellbook Tower, and there are very few reasons why you shouldn't run it. After that, 2 Spellbook of the Master. You can consider bumping this to 3 if you want. You guys already know what it does, it came out in Cosplay Blazer. 1 Spellbook Library of the Heliosphere. This card would be much better if it said if you have 4 or more Spellbook spell cards rather than 5, because then you can more consistently get 5 into the graveyard. This card isn't that bad, to be honest, but I will put this into the graveyard pretty quickly with 4 Prophecy after I put Crescent. Heliosphere normally wouldn't be very dead, and normally it's a +0 for me. Sometimes it's a +1, sometimes it's a -1. But mostly I use it for the name, and to put counters on Starhole and Exemplar. And also it has got this limitation which people seem to overlook a lot. You cannot activate any spell cards the turn you activate this card except spellbook spell cards. It's not really too big of a limitation, but people do forget that this limitation exists, so I just wanted to point it out. So after that, Spellbook Starhole. Spellbook Starhole in my opinion is the best TCG exclusive. After that, Spellbook Library of the Crescent, the worst TCG exclusive. Crescent is just isn't really good. At least Heliosphere is potentially a +1. Crescent is just like a random searcher. It has the same limitation as Heliosphere as well, so it's not that good. The only time it's really good is if you can use it and get secrets or maybe a power to your hand, and basically you could possibly get 5 spellbooks in your graveyard without using Reasoning or Monster Gate first turn if you use Crescent, but you kind of have to be kind of lucky to get that to go off. 1 Spellbook of Fate, self-explanatory really, just a 1 in my opinion. I guess you could run 2, I just wouldn't, because I'm all about consistency, and Spellbook of Fate isn't too good of a card to open with. 2 Spellbook of Wisdom. This you could actually bump to 3 because winning all of your wisdoms is a bummer, especially if your opponent sees that you mill 2 Spellbook of Wisdom and just sets 4. It's really annoying. 1 Heavy, 1 Dark Hole, 1 Reborn. I was testing without Dark Hole because Reborn's obviously a Swarm deck, but I put it back in just because there are times where you just really want to Dark Hole your opponent. And 1 Breakthrough Skill. This is the replacement to my second Veiler. It's a really good mill. It doesn't interrupt Reasoning, doesn't interrupt Monster Gate, and to be honest you could probably run another one of this and it would kind of be like running 3 Veiler. So yeah, but actually that's not so bad. You can actually put another Breakthrough Skill in if you want. But for now, for 40th card, I'm just actually going to make this. I'm just going to make a Spellbook of Power. Just because I have had times when I've milled all of my Spellbook of Powers and it's been really annoying. But yeah, definitely consider Breakthrough Skill, Master, Spellbook of Wisdom as well. So I'll quickly go over the extra deck and then I'll sum up the video. So most of the stuff is just really stable. Catastar, Librarian, Tempest Magician. You saw me use this against the Exodia player and I think I dealt 11,000 damage to him or something ridiculous. Arclight Magician, Black Rose, Scrap Dragon and Stardust Dragon. For Exceeds, Utopia, Maestro, Black Ship of Corn, Visa 4 for Lilas and the Magical Exemplars. And for the rank 7s, Maggie Magician Girl, really broken OTKs with Destroyer and Reaper of Prophecy. Bouncer, pretty good as well. M7, which is also really good. It's like a compulsion steroids, it's really crazy. Like one play which I like doing is that if my opponent leaves a Reaper to destroy all the field, I'll overlay them, I'll make M7, I'll detach Reaper, add Reaper back to my hand, sack M7, summon Reaper, add another Reaper, summon another Reaper, add a spellbook, and then revive Destroyer. And basically I haven't used a single card in my hand. I only used Reaper and Destroyer for that play and some spellbooks in my graveyard, and I basically +2 I believe from Reaper for free basically. So that's one play which I like doing with M7, and it's just really good. Exabeetle, really good for dealing with Zen mains, just like Gutchies, Maestroke, annoying cards like that. Really big monsters, also hits like face up Macrocosmoses and stuff like that. M7 also can deal with like Zen mains and stuff like that, which I should mention. And the last card is Force Focus. By all means you can take this out and put a Gaia Charger if you want. So that's the deck, guys. You've requested it for quite a while, so I'm kind of sorry about not getting this up for you guys. If you can subscribe and stuff, I know you probably won't, but it's fine. Like the video at least if you can, and comment in the comment section below if you want. And this is Azure Options signing out, and I hope you have a nice day.